Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
And you're listening to Live from the Path. We're coming to you from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. Guitars in.
We're going to have to license that
Hey,
now?
let me ask you this question. Do you guys, are there any songs that you feel like you like that nobody else likes?
I mean, like
boy.
the Tennessee Birdwalk.
Tennessee Birdwalk? What is that?
Give us a few bars, Dan.
Oh, man, it goes back to the 70s. I just remember it's the Tennessee Birdwalk. You'd have to look it up. I haven't heard it for like 50
Based on
years.
that rendition, Dan, I don't like it.
Hey, it's a good one. See, I told you no one liked it but me.
The Tennessee Birdwalk.
It was like one of those kids'
the
happy,
number
funny
74
songs.
hit from the
Casey
tomfooleries,
him live.
the Tennessee Birdwalk.
That along with the dead skunk in the middle of the road. Those are two good ones.
I don't get those channels.
You're probably looking for real songs, though.
I don't listen to the radio that often. I'm missing the Tennessee Birdwalk apparently.
Can you think of a song that...
A song that I like that like nobody else does?
Yeah.
I like Mongolian throat singing and Mongolian throat metal.
Oh, that's sick.
Give me an example.
I mean, I can't give you an example. It's Mongolian throat singing that I refuse to do.
Yeah.
But
Just try a couple bars,
there's a
though.
band called The Who that the HU it means like human
Oh, yeah.
in Mongolian.
Yeah.
And they do like throat singing and metal. It's awesome. It's not it.
That's it.
That's
That's pretty
not
close.
it. No, that sounded
sounds
rough.
painful.
That's the
That
rough-
sounded like you got a problem with your sewage.
Hey, that's the live version, Mike. You gotta
You got to get the live cut.
do the studio.
Movie listens to the processed versions with a bunch of compression.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's what we got going on the Live from the Path.
The only two answers we're
How
getting
did
is
they say my
Tennessee
song?
Birdwalk and
Dude,
mine.
I had one so ready.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Grace.
Wilhelmina by Danny Kaye.
How does that one go?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
You
do
don't
that.
have to sing it.
I mean, I'm not going
Here's
to
the
sing
deal.
it.
You
The
can't.
Tennessee
I
Birdwalk.
mean, do you really? I mean, is that something that you are sure you want?
Yeah, hit us a bar, Grace.
Yeah.
Wilhelmina, she's the sweetest little girl in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
It's ancient. It's like I'm gonna guess early 1920s.
Okay. Okay.
It made me physically uncomfortable.
You should
I'm-
work on that.
I'm never changing my name to Wilhelmina now.
It makes me want to do the Tennessee Birdwalk.
I don't know, Dan. That one seems pretty popular.
It's growing on me.
Are you looking for it right now?
It sounds like you wrote this. Did you write this song in 1974?
No.
I don't hate it.
No, it's growing on me.
We have to license that now too.
Yeah, you take away their wing. It's 1970.
Okay. Okay.
Jack
I was
Blanchard,
negative 21.
Rusty Morgan, Tennessee Birdwalk.
Wilhelmina does the Tennessee Birdwalk.
I don't even know why that came to mind.
I like that song Gravy Train by Mark Knopfler.
Oh, Mark Knopfler.
Yeah, from the Dire Straits.
You just like gravy.
Riding on a gravy train.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
All right.
What about you, Ben?
No, I don't. I'm not. No, it's out. It went on longer than I
He
expected.
doesn't listen to music.
I was gonna.
It
I was
was not
gonna.
a real question.
I was just gonna transition. All right. So we got a bunch of articles today. So I'll let you guys pick. There was some said 9 things you should know about the communion service on the moon. Did
No.
you know people did communion on the moon?
No,
I did
don't
not
care
know
about
that.
it. And wouldn't the Jews try to escape? Question 1.
What?
Why would there be a Jew on the moon?
And why would they take communion?
Kazow!
There's a pharaoh here too.
Have any of our astronauts been like professing Christians? I mean, I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah. In
No,
1969,
Ben. No,
Oh.
we were voting. You can't start reading.
Dan voted. Okay.
Oh.
Just in 1969, Buzz Aldrin was an elder at Webster Presbyterian Church. And they've been struggling to find the right symbol for the first lunar landing. We wanted to express our feeling that what man was doing in this mission transcended electronics and computers and rockets. One of the principal symbols is that God reveals himself in the common elements of everyday life. So they got the idea for a communion ceremony, and they did it on the moon.
That was just a year before the Tennessee Birdwalk.
Oh boy. No.
I think these
Gosh.
things are related.
I never thought of it before, but I think you're right.
Okay.
That was probably the code name for walking on the moon.
One trumpet blast, the moon. Second trumpet blast, Tennessee Birdwalk.
Oh dear.
Okay.
2 shofars for the Birdwalk.
Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Nine micro stresses of a pastor.
Micro stresses?
Okay, I'm curious as to what this is. So
Actually, yeah.
we're gonna try them out and
Is
see
it
if
like
they
a
hit Dan.
microaggression?
Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. Let's just get one example. The decision-making micro stresses. Okay. Yeah, these are classic. All right. Okay. We're gonna hit those up.
Those are gonna show up great.
Bible removed from Utah elementary, middle school bookshelves for sex and violence.
There's definitely that in there.
This is what I'm saying.
It's there.
I mean, they removed it for reasons that are in the Bible.
So, so interesting. Now, I think the someone sent this to me, and I think the idea was I was supposed to be incensed, and I thought, I mean,
That's a reaction. Yeah,
it feels like you could pull it. Like for elementary school kids, would I give my 7-year-old the whole Bible and go to town?
Yeah.
No, I want to
Let's
help
talk
them read
Sodom
it.
and Gomorrah, kids.
Right.
That's
like,
what we have the Jesus
Let's
Storybook Bible
sodomy.
for.
Why'd that lady get turned into salt?
I like salt.
What's so bad about that?
Yeah.
She
Lot's
just
wife
turned
was
around.
Lot's wife was a Himalayan, and that's how she ended up in the way she is. Hey, they call me Butter because I'm on a roll.
I feel like I just got micro stressed 4 times in that statement alone.
Whatever just happened,
I
I
hate
would
this.
like to unexperience it.
I can't believe it's not being.
The Tennessee Boardwalk. It's awful.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not surprised. Actually, the only thing that I was surprised about is the books that remained on the shelf after they pulled the Bible. I would probably be disappointed.
Yeah.
Like there's a welcome elementary school child. Here's all kinds of information I prefer they not have, but they pulled the scripture.
They're playing games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Politics.
It was in Utah though. Okay, that one's out. Okay, now here's the deal. I don't want to pay for some of these articles. The Christianity Today started covering stuff under the threat of $50 monthly fee, but spiritual battle of teen screen time. So actually, I wanted to talk to you ladies about this anyway,
Oh boy.
because
people may need to talk to you about this.
because I think Ludditism tends to show up in this room spearheaded by Mike Foose.
Don't look over here.
Them shorts betray your Luddite behavior.
I knew it. I was out of clean pants. I don't want to talk about it.
So, but anyway, I feel like I'd be curious to say, like, do we have this wrong? If you ladies have heard us talk about technology from where you sit, what you've grown up in, what you've seen, and however far you may have dipped your toes into technology, is there a different way that we should be thinking about it, or that you're thinking about it? And so, like, do you feel like there are ways in which you think we could be thinking about this differently?
All right, I'm going to be honest. Compared to how most other teenagers would spend their screen time, I feel like I do it quite differently. I spend about 90% of my time on my phone staring at a Google Doc because I've decided that it's a good idea to write stories. It's a bad idea. Don't do it.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I got no say on this. I'm going to shut up now.
It's a good start.
Okay. Classic.
It's a real good start.
I don't know. Emma, do you feel like do you have a perspective on this that you feel like may differ from the room or from Mike's overly restrictive comparisons?
Probably not really. I feel like it definitely can be like harmful depending on how much you use it and where you're using it for. But I also think that it's silly to pretend like anything you do on it just is inherently useless or a waste of time. Because like I write a lot too. I listen to a lot of music. And now that I do definitely waste my time on my phone, I do think like it can also be valuable. So
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like there's probably more value than some people think, but it is more danger than a lot of kids think.
Are most teens doing social media as opposed to like Google Docs, or what are they spending their
That's
time
my
on?
guess. I don't know.
Social media.
TikTok.
They certainly don't watch Live from the Path.
Oh man,
mostly,
why?
mostly live from the past.
They certainly don't watch Live from the Path. That's
I
a
know
tough cut, Grace.
Nick, you
I
meant
mean,
to
that's
say
what
they
should be
do.
happening. That's what I do.
Okay, so the gut reaction is that there's a more nuanced way to look at it. Both in one, it sounds like both of you are hesitant to be lumped in with what you would say is a broad description of how teens use their phone. So because there might be righteous ways of using it, and because you're not necessarily TikTok and YouTube and all the stuff all day, you feel like you got to be cautious that you don't get lumped into those categories. Does that sound fair?
I mean, that sounds fair. And nobody wants to be lumped into a category that's getting the finger wag. But
Okay, right. I could see that. Okay. All right. But the title of this thing was The Spiritual Battle of Teen Screen Time. Kids' addictions to their phones isn't a legislative issue. Now, I have seen that. Wasn't that didn't Iowa have something that they were trying to pass that restricted teen
Probably.
phone use, or even like how old you could be to have like a Facebook account or stuff like
Well,
that?
like they banned TikTok in Montana.
Yeah.
Was that for security concerns?
I thought
Yeah,
They're
I
worried
think
about
so.
Montana
but
even noticed.
Yeah.
Hey, they got that weather balloon first, and they said we ain't doing this again. Cut to TikTok.
Do you think people will just get tired? I mean, maybe that's just old man talking, but like at some point, won't we just get tired of all this crap and just turn them off?
I don't think so.
It's just gonna keep
The
getting
thing
going.
is like it's the same is true for adults though, right? Like
yeah.
this is where I find this conversation slightly unfair, because like I would prescribe the same thing to everybody, not just
Right.
children, right? But it's easier to give screen time to your kids because that's what they're asking for, But like you go, I don't know how many restaurants I go see, and two people are sitting from across each other, and they're on their phones,
Yeah.
and like nobody can pass a minute without something to do, right? Like, and so like the brain never engages in like second level thought. Like you keep riding the wave of the thoughts of others forever, right?
Yeah.
So like you can just keep like there is some fun and interesting aspects to that, right? But like it does have limits where like you are merely a reflection of everyone on the internet, and like who you are is unknowable because you spend zero time like being you. You spend all of your time taking in what other people are doing all the time, right? And so like I think it honestly does feed into like some identity crisis stuff that we're looking at, and like where people just have no idea which way is up because they will follow the wave of the internet to its very end, right? And like the same is true for adults. There's just as many dudes, that I would work with that I'm like, get off your phone, like go cut a piece of wood or fix something, or I don't know, read the newspaper, or like just sit on your deck and looking at the sky. I don't know, anything besides needing, because it becomes a compulsion, right? Where you're like, you start to get anxious because time is passing and you are not like taking in something. You can't just be still for 10 minutes. Like that can't be good for you.
Right. Be digitally engaged and know I'm God.
Yes.
That's not what it says.
That can't be right.
Yeah.
What's the gist of the article? What are they trying to get at?
Let's see. New data and a bipartisan consensus that phones are bad for kids may give parents pause. A growing body of research, though certainly not indisputable, has pointed out that smartphones with unfettered access to the internet and social media have serious negative effects for younger users, particularly teenage girls. At the end of May, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, that's a cool name, issued a formal warning and report about the effects of social media on child and teen mental health. Yeah, okay, and then it kind of rolls away. That it creates anxiousness, and all kinds of things.
Social media for sure, right? Like school's rough enough, and then you're getting this. You're taking all the rough parts and taking it home with you, right? Like the constant, like teenagers are hyper vigilant in middle school and high school. They notice every little thing, good or bad, and then they talk about it ad nauseum. And so, like, where you usually get a respite by going home and like getting in your own space around your own family or own people, right now you're just at home listening to their opinions of you as you get no respite at all.
Oh, okay. Here's what I would liken it to. We went to a dance. That's not a competition. It's like a dance recital, last week, and they had 2 hours of dancing, and like they had some real tiny kids danced, and then up to high school age. Okay, so at the end of the night, they're doing all these. Oh, it was a great year. Oh, thanks all the parents for their dedication. Blah blah blah. And some cute little kid comes rumbling up at the end of the thing and wants to talk into the microphone, and the teacher lets him say something, and it says like, "I love you, Dad," or something like this, and we're like, "Oh!" And sure enough, 3 other kids pop up because now they want to talk into the microphone. But you look at these kids, and I've never seen any of these children in my life, And I look at two of those 3 kids, and I'm like, nope, you don't want to give that kid a microphone, right? Because you're discerning. You know better than to hand a microphone over to a kid. They're just gonna like cut wind into it with their face, or like yell into it, just go, like make weird noises and crap. And so you know better that is not the right person to give the ability to soak up the time and attention of everybody in the room. Okay? And as a person holding the microphone, you have to have some discernment that goes, no, this person shouldn't have this. Social media, especially like think of it from in an influential age ranges, it's just an open microphone where any kid can come up and cut wind with his face to anybody they want to, and there's no one with any discernment going, you know what, you shouldn't listen to this. And like if they were physically doing it in your space, you can just walk away, and you're not even subjected to it. But like even with social media, a lot of the times even if it's not being said to you, it's being said to others. It can be shared to you, and like you at least have to take it in to know to block it, as opposed to like I can just be away from this dude who shouldn't have a microphone completely. Yeah.
There's 2 other places that you should not have an open microphone situation, just heads up.
Okay.
1 is karaoke at a bar that has less than 5 patrons.
Yes.
And 2 is an open forum toasts at a wedding reception.
Oh.
You should not have an open
sometimes a
microphone in that
funeral.
situation.
That's sometimes a funeral.
There have been,
Dan, have you run into some rough situations?
Oh, man. There's times I said, I think it's time for us to kind of end this. And
It's time to wrap
I've
this
had
up.
to take a microphone back from a toast situation where I'm just like, I absolutely refuse to let like cousin Gary come up and give his toasts when he hasn't seen the family in 15 years. And he's going to talk about that whole 15 years and give this as his forum for like giving his newsletter of what he's been up to for the 10 plus years.
Also, the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper.
That's all this is.
Yeah. That's sometimes
That's
a
true.
risk.
That's open mic for all of us.
Yeah. Oh, so Emma, do you mind me sharing an anecdote from your life over the last couple weeks?
Sure.
Sure, you do mind, or it's all right?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So interestingly, Emma had it wasn't this last week, maybe it was the week before. Had like a week of like less phone. So phone had to be downstairs all the time. And you could only use it kind of kitchen table-ish, and you could only use it for very kind of a restricted number of things. And like there was, and I've told her this isn't a surprise, but like a significant change in her patience with her like brother and sisters, and general like attitude and engagement with people around, like with her family around her. And the reason I tell that story is because like she wouldn't have had she not taken that step and not had her phone like so kind of on her, close to her, being used as often during that week, you would never have known, because it doesn't like just explicitly tie to phone usage. Like it's not always happening just because you're using the phone. And the reason that struck me is because I thought, like, how am I behaving in ways that I have no idea, because I just don't have significant breaks from using my phone from whatever justifiable reason that I have it. My work is on my phone. People who need something from me, my friends are on, like the way that I connect, where I'm going to meet with people this week, it's all on my phone, right? But like I thought, it hit me very hard, where I thought, how many things am I blind to that I would not have any idea had I not seen my daughter have an experience which, like, for no other explainable reason, softened some of the things that had felt like they become a little bit hard.
I think that's definitely true, because like your phone has a built-in selfishness to it, like, because everything about you is in it, right? And so like, and it is completely about you. And people will say, hey, the people that's how I communicate with people, and blah 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 blah. But like everything around you feels rushed because you need to get back to it. What if someone did message me? What if something did happen on Facebook that I need to see, or Instagram, or whatever? Right? Like, what if someone wants to get a hold of me? Hey, I got 30 minutes of free lives on this game. It only shows up like once every 3 days. I don't want to drop that opportunity, Or like, what if I want to listen to these songs, or I want to draw this thing? Like, all of it is whatever's going on around. I want to get away from it and get back to my own stuff. And so you innately become like self-focused and self-centered without actually meaning to. You know what I'm saying? And like, it creeps up on you. And you don't realize that's what it's done.
Yeah, and that was the point of telling the story, is because, like, I wonder just how many. It goes back to, remember we were talking about how you get most irritated when you're interrupted from something you probably shouldn't have been doing anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
So take that as a compound that over my phone use for a given week. Like, how some things you might attribute to someone's personality, like the phone is the new drunkenness. You'd be like, they've been drinking. You can excuse their behavior. They've been drinking. Oh, you know what? I know they're impatient. They've been using their phone a lot. Right? Like, how many things about my personality has shifted and I don't even know it? I could be a better person than I'm behaving right now.
Yes.
Simply because I'm spending too much time on that phone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, go ahead, Booba.
I was gonna say it's interesting. So the other day, I accidentally left my phone at home.
Yeah.
And I've to be cliche, I felt naked. Like I felt weird about it.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I don't remember the last time I left my phone somewhere.
Yeah.
And didn't have it. Like we had left home, went to church, went out to lunch, and we're gone for a couple of hours. And I realized that one, it is a megaphone for my insecurities. Because read receipts are my worst nightmare. Every time I can see that someone hasn't read a message that I've sent them or has read a message that I've sent them and hasn't responded, it wrecks my friggin' day. Because I'm just like, oh no, they hate me. They must hate me. They're obviously, I'm the worst thing that's ever happened to them. The other thing was I realized how present I was in the moment because everyone around me was on their phones.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm out to lunch with people and I went to grab my phone from my pocket because everybody at the table was on their phone. Yeah. And then I was like, oh no, I don't have mine. Well, what do I do now? And I sat there in silence. I was like, this is what we are. And if I would have had my phone, I would have just been contributing in that. I would have been like, well, scroll, nothing, like random crap.
Oh, a cat.
Right, yeah, oh, cool. And I don't really have social media on my phone anymore for lots of reasons, but I'll find other stuff. I'll find articles or whatever. And I tell myself I read my Bible on my phone and that's good. And that's my reason for it. Or a lot of my work is on my phone. And so I keep that with me at all times. But I legitimately had no reason to have it because I was with my wife. She had GPS. If anybody needed to get a hold of me, they could have gotten a hold of her. And I was like, okay, I guess I don't have my phone. This is fine. And I started panicking in 10 seconds. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I need to figure out a day where there's nothing work-related that's going to happen, so I'm not worried about that. I'm with my wife, and I don't have my phone because I want to see what my life looks like if I'm not plugged in.
So a few days ago, I'm in a small room with the former president of the United States. One of those, for most people, maybe once in a lifetime, thing. Nobody's more than 40 feet away from the guy, right? I mean,
Right.
It's small. I was shocked looking around at how many people, not everybody, but there were many people on their phones, and I'm like,
not just videoing them or something, but
I mean, of course that was
doing
going
stuff.
on too, people taking pictures, but then they're looking down, and I'm like, huh. I mean,
I have a very important email.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the cat.
The
It's like,
former president's in front of me,
right there.
but I got to check this. Oh, Microsoft's got a special.
So these guys around you, the Secret Service, they're watching you, and you're looking at a phone. Yeah, I just thought it was weird. I mean, like I said, not everybody, but it was more than I would think.
Yeah,
should have.
in a moment where you feel like, hey man, but now
Take
though,
this moment in.
yeah,
But
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
like him or don't like him, whatever.
Oh.
It's still a big thing.
Yes.
And concerts are so bad
Oh,
for this.
gosh.
People literally on their phone, the whole time. I don't know. This is where I get the Luddite tag. But I'm telling you, it just we're looking in every nook and cranny to go. Why is the current generation struggling so much from anxiety? And we're holding it 24/7. This thing owns you. It calls you by name, puts a collar on you, and chains you to it. Where the fact where you leave without it, you get a little panicky.
Right.
And all for the fear of the unknown. It's not a guarantee you're going to miss that call. You're like, hey man, I applied for a job and it's a great job. And he said he was going to call me back at 2 p.m. This is not the situation we're in.
Right.
Because that's your whole life now. Your whole life is whatever may come.
Right.
It may be here. It may not be here. In the meantime, I'll play a game. I'll scroll a song. I'll check the news. Whatever. I'll just wait. But the whole time, it pharaohs you. You're owned by it, and we're okay with it. And then we go, I don't know why people are so stressed out and full of anxiety all the time. It's because you're married to a nervous box. The thing sits in your pocket and goes, you never know what I'm going to do. You never know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And you're like, well, what are you going to do? I don't know. You don't know. Maybe I'll do something. Maybe I won't do anything.
It's funny because that couples with the fact that most of us don't even want to answer the thing that it's there
yeah.
for.
I'm not even going to
originally-
reply to the email.
Right, exactly. Originally, it was a communication device, and rarely ever do we even use it for that anymore. Because I'm not going to tell who it was, but I called someone recently. Their phone went straight to voicemail. The voicemail said, "If you're a doctor's office, a school, or someone else important, leave a message. If you're just a regular person, please text me." And that was the end of the voicemail. And I was like, am I a regular person? I'm not 100% sure if I make the regular distinction or not, but I'll send a text just in case.
Yeah.
But like
Phone calls are the
everyone I
worst.
know, people are like, I'll never answer my phone. Don't call me. Text me. Text me. But we want to be glued to these phones like it's an emergency at all times. But if the emergency actually happened, we probably wouldn't pick up.
Yeah, right. So, ladies, let's bring it back around, though. So, as you were talking about earlier, hey, I think there are righteous reasons for using this thing, valuable reasons to have it, use it. So, what are your recommendations as you see it on how to have a healthy relationship with your phone? Like how, and it doesn't have to be out to everybody else. Just think about maybe even just you. Like, what do you think are the right guidelines or ways of thinking about it?
Well, at least for me, I think like the 2 weeks or whatever I had was really useful because like not only did it like help me just to, I don't know, it didn't really help me find other things to do. I still did like the same 5 things I would normally do, but I just did them for longer, I guess. But like it helped me to realize at the core what I wanted to use my phone for. So like for the first, I don't know, like 3 days, I would like keep reaching for it. Like, I'm going to check the weather. I don't care what the weather is. I can see out the window. Or like, I'm going to check the news, or I'm going to scroll Pinterest or whatever. And then like eventually it got to the point where like at the end of the week I was like, boy, I just really want to write it now. Or like, you know, it would be really convenient if I could look up some guitar chords right now. Like the basic things, like I wish I could look at a drawing reference. Like the things that aren't really, I'm not sure how to describe it, but like the more basic things that like in the end, what do you want to use this for the most? And then trying to, since then I've tried to like constrict it to like mostly just using it for those things.
So it helped you figure out, these are the things I intentionally go to the phone for, and those are valuable things. There's a bucket of things that I do not intentionally go to the phone for, which may otherwise pull me in. Is that
you figured that out in a vacuum? That's cool.
And then this is kind of going back, but I'm not sure. This is completely hypothetical, and I just came up with this right now, so it could be completely wrong.
happens to me all the time?
Me too.
But I was thinking about the anxiety thing, and I wonder if, like, I don't think that can only be phones, because my generation is not the only generation, like, using phones. Like, we've grown up with phones, but obviously, like, we kind of talked about, like, the usage is not just that. And so, just in the back of my head, I thought, like, you know how every generation, the one before you is like, boy, you guys are just wrecking the world. like even back in, like, I was reading this cookbook from the 40s or something, and they were like, in America today, we eat more sugar than all the Europeans. This generation, we're just wasting. We're going to become, like, largy or something. I don't even know what that word means. But it
Largy?
Yes.
Me.
But, so then I thought, like, is it possible that, like, every generation is, like, getting the, hey, your guys are just screwing this world up. But then it's built on top because your grandparents' generation think it too. So, like, every generation is just getting more and more. Wow, you guys are just messing everything up.
Kids don't coal mine like they used to.
Kids don't
And so,
coal
like,
mine like they used to.
I wonder, and then that's tied into the phones. Like, that's people, like, now, like, my parents' generation and whatever are like, wow, you guys are just messing everything up with all your phones. And so, like, it's almost connected so in a way, like, where it's just piling and piling.
It's doubled, right?
Yeah.
So the phones may be contributing, but then your parents' view of your use of the phones, like, makes it double anxious.
And then your grandparents' view, and then your great-grandparents' view, and, like, it just keeps going.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the thing, though, is like I am more frustrated with my generation and their phone use than I am with the younger generations, right? Because, like, I think the way that technology is going, like, it's almost a disservice if you plan on keeping your kids off technology, like, really restricted, because, like, their job's going to be that. All communication is going that way. Like, it's like there's a little bit of foolishness in there to being like, look, we're going to stick with the stone tablet. it's always been good.
Yeah.
You know, and so like
Here's
there's little.
Ramkus.
It's always been good to me.
It's always been good to us. It takes a little time. I wish I didn't know Jeremiah. It takes so long to write his name. But like, but like I watch like people in my age that like are legit addicted to this phone. Like at work even. Like they're supposed to be doing work. I don't know how many times I walk through a construction area, and there's 30 guys and 25 of them are on their phone, and I'm like, we're paying you to be here. Give me your phones. This is ridiculous. I shouldn't be paying you a high hourly wage for you to stand around and be on your phone. You know, and so I find the whole thing, like the anxiety thing, like it's bearing itself out in youth, right? But the truth is, all adults have it. And their outlet for complaining about it tends to be social media, and like it's just this never-ending stream of gross, because all they do is get stuck in their head and then feed it again, and basically like they're just sitting there feeding this wolf of anxiety all the time and looking for validation, and either they get it or they don't, and they come right back to the same well again, trying for the exact same validation every time they're there. And so like I know the whole thing isn't bad, I know that, but like I think it's really as simple as calling a pharaoh, right? Like, you know, if it owns you, just like drinking, just like whatever else thing that God says you can do in moderation. Being largy, right? Like, you know when food owns you. You don't have to lie to yourself. You know when it owns you. Can you have a Twinkie? God mad at you? No, you have a Twinkie, fine. But like, if it owns you, you probably shouldn't have that Twinkie. Same thing's true with the phone, right? I feel like my phone owns me right now. Like, it's pretty easy to see that. Like, I was sitting out on the deck with my wife. Finally got done doing a bunch of stuff, right? I sit down and I'm like, I'm gonna play Homescapes. Dinner's probably 10, 15 minutes off. I'll throw a Homescapes game on. I sit down for 30 seconds, and then my wife goes, hey, can you go do this? And like, I'm instantly, because I was doing something I was
trying to play Homescapes.
I was just wanting to play Homescapes. And so what a regular request is, like, hey, Mike, can you go grab me this spoon or something? I'd be like, sure, I'll get a spoon, no big deal. Except for if I already decided I was going to hang out with my phone, and then now I'm irritated with my loving wife because I have to stand up and get a spoon. It sounds ridiculous.
I mean, I feel like you'd be the same amount of mad if you were like, man, I can't wait to sit down and read this book. Oh, you want me to grab this spoon? But I just started reading this book.
I think that's probably fair. That's probably a fair comparison. But I would probably say that, like, I would go to the phone way more often than I would a book, right? Like, when you're preparing to read a book, I'm like, I got some time set apart. This is my book reading time. It's a little bit more protected, where the phone grabs your seconds, not your minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You might be interrupted 100 times a day because you grab that phone 100 times a day, when you might have not have been so bold as to try to pick up a book except for maybe 5 times
Yeah, with
a
a
day.
10-minute time period between dinner, it would almost been ridiculous for me to go, woman, I'm sitting down for a good read. I got 10 minutes to go. Leave me be in my peace. That's a little ridiculous.
I do think then maybe this is like a separate problem where, like, if you're doing something so often for so short of time that you're getting interrupted, like, you should try and figure that out and just, like, maybe set more specific time, like, be more intentional about it. Because, like, I do this with the guitar. Like, I'll just pick up the guitar. Mom's like, I get done with one subject, give it to Mom, and then I pick up the guitar, and Mom's like, why are you playing the guitar? Like, I don't know. I had a few seconds. And so, technically, I have no time to play the guitar right now. But I just picked it up, and, like, I'll do that 20 times a day. And every time I get interrupted, I'm like, come on, I'm playing the guitar. But, like, so maybe it's just that instead of, and I probably would be more successful and more, make more progress if I actually just got everything done and then set aside specific time to play the guitar. And so I don't know if that applies to
No,
the
that's
phone
the
at
whole
all
key,
either,
though. Like, you
but
nailed it, right? It's living with some intentionality, which
Absolutely.
means I own when I play guitar,
Right.
not the guitar owns me. And the phone is a much easier ownership.
It's
of
friggin'
you.
squirrel.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that intentionality is huge on pretty much everything. Like, and I think the intentionality also would help kind of, I don't know, undemonize the phone situation.
Yeah.
If it became like, no, I know my 30 minutes or 1 hour of my phone time I get after dinner, after my chores are done, after homework's done, I sit out for like my 7 to 8. And I get some phone time, whether that's playing a game of Homescapes, whether that's looking up some drawing references, whether that's my time to, grab a hold of a podcast that I've been wanting to get 20 minutes in, whatever. But, like, the intentionality of that is a huge thing that helps you. Rather than chasing squirrels, you are constructing your day with some thought behind it, rather than just chasing squirrels all day.
Yeah, because it's a resource for you, right?
Yeah.
Like drawing reference is cool.
That's awesome.
Or like, hey, I'm trying to write a 30s detective novel.
Right.
I got to listen to some things so I understand where we're at.
Yeah, I looked
That's-
up A Better Homes and Gardens from 1972, and I wanted to hang
Right.
out with it for a bit.
But when I scroll Pinterest, I actually feel worse about myself because I'm like, here's all the things I should be doing. And then I just sit there and look and look and look and look. And well, you know what I accomplished? Nothing. Right?
Right.
So like if you want to use, I like technology for heightening your life.
Right.
But like what it tends to do is becomes your life. I think that's the line. Is like when it starts to own you. Now some people be like, well, I intentionally want my life to be nothing, and so I just want to sit here and watch other people play Minecraft. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so in general, like on that score, you're not contributing to the world anymore. You're just a big old consumer.
And there's probably stuff behind that's making you want to do that anyway.
For sure.
I struggle so hard, like not completely, but I struggle with the intentionality thing because it feels like planning, and I hate planning. I hate lists. Like my mom likes scheduling out our day. Like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I know, like especially homeschool moms who are like, okay, from 9 to 10, you're gonna do this subject, and like I just hate it. I hate it so much. It makes me feel like I get
You're
nothing
rebelling
done.
against the entire
feels
school-going
terrible.
and working world, Emma. Like
It's a good
everybody's
thing
day
I don't
is
do
that
either
way.
of those. But like having a school day from like here to here, that's different. But like when you're like, okay, you have, I don't know, I can't make them for myself. I hate following them, and so then when I start and trying to be and super intentional, like planning out from the beginning of the day, okay, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. My day instantly feels like even if I have the same amount of time, it just feels gone, and I just hate it.
When you're doing that planning, do you feel like there's a sense of failure behind it if you set it and you just don't stick to it? Like if you set your day out that you've got 30 minutes or an hour to do something and you don't keep to it, or you've got your day planned out and you missed 6 things and so you're really angry at yourself by the end of the day, do you feel like there's a sense of failure in that for you?
I think there is, but it's different than like my mom will plan out the whole day and like intend to get all of it done, and then she just won't have time because she overschedules everything. And then she's like, ugh, and then she'll stay up super late trying to get as much of it done, and then she won't feel like she actually got enough done, and it'll feel unsuccessful. But like it's a difference. I don't know. It's sort of a different. I don't know. It's a different sort of failure.
Are you? Is it that like it feels boxed in?
Yeah. It just feels. It feels like so controlled and so planned out that like there can't be any sort of, I don't know, organicness to it. And then even if I do get to write for like the hour from 11 to 12, then it just feels. Then I have to end at 12, and it just feels so.
Yeah.
And then I won't probably end at 12, and then it's just like, now I missed all my time to go read, and I really wanted to read today. I don't know. I don't work very well with that, but I feel like there's got to be a way to be intentional without.
With allowing for flexibility.
Yeah.
Grace, did you have something on that?
Yeah. I mean, this might just be a me thing, but like the fact that I have to make a list anyway means I've already failed at doing the task. So like, I mean, it just makes me feel bad anyhow. Like the fact that I've
what do
had
you mean? Like it would just organically happen, so you shouldn't have to make a list?
Yeah, like I mean, I should have been able to get this done organically, but no, I gotta have this piece of paper sitting on my wall that I look at and I'm like, I gotta do that. Dang it.
Oh, yeah. Lists often represent a first step that otherwise could have been addressing the main thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I spent all this time making a list. I could have been doing the thing.
Lists are just depressing. That's just.
That's the point.
I mean, you guys aren't like missing on something that everybody else is killing it at. Just realize that first and foremost. Like the vast majority of adults and working people in general suck at this. Like they're just flat out terrible at it. Given any level of freedom, most people are terrible at actually coming up with a coherent list of things that need to get done and sticking to the task. Myself included in that, by the way.
So does that mean it ain't the phones then?
As it, well, the reason I was bringing that question was from the perspective of like the intentionality of making lists can enable the phone to be a positive force, rather than just a negative squirrel chase all the time.
Yeah, but I think to Emma's, and this gets I think to the more nuanced place where we started, which is that like the phone is the most convenient and often most pernicious vehicle at sucking you in and keeping you in.
Absolutely, yes.
But a guitar can do the same thing.
Agreed, yes.
So could, if you're in 1848, so could a paper doll that's been, colored with two wax crayons.
Oh, I spent too much time gardening today.
Yeah, but a paper doll could still suck me in, honestly.
Yeah, but it's way different, right? Because like all that stuff, this is probably wrong, but it's the consumer versus the producer thing to me, right? Like there's an imagination needed for the paper doll, right? There's work for you to put into it, not necessarily even work, but effort and thought.
I think it's the potential of bad that comes with the phone versus the potential of bad that comes with
I
gardening.
think the phone goes, I'm going to shut off all my thought processes and just take in. I'm just going to take in everything. Take in.
Okay, yeah. So the ability, those are two separate things, though. The ability to exploit your lack of intentionality is true for every one of them.
Right, agreed.
How dumb you're getting while being distracted is
Yes.
the distinction you're making.
You're 4 hours into a subreddit hole versus 4 hours into now you've gardened a whole plot.
Right.
Yeah, right. Like, and you have no idea what you could actually
Yes,
get
I did
done.
just call you out.
Actually, I spent 4 hours the other night looking at a 1919 cookbook while watching the original Frankenstein.
Why are both of you reading some ancient cookbooks?
They're interesting.
I love this. I
They're
read
really
old
fun.
cookbooks too.
They spelled all the words weird, and it kind of threw me off. But like, it wasn't even that old, and so I was confused. But anyways, it's really interesting.
Yeah, they credited the church ladies who gave out the recipes. Every single recipe's got like and this came from Mrs. Haversham. And I'm like, sweet, thanks, Mrs. Haversham.
Hey, I have some of those at home if you'd like to go through them.
I call dibs.
I'm gonna bring them
Are
in.
they from 1915?
That's awesome.
All right,
So
okay, so let's round it up, right? Like I know that parts of this conversation are convicting to everybody in some certain way, but like, is there a guiding principle, something you can keep in the back of your head that reminds you? Because like, no one wants to be told how to do this, right? No one wants to be parented this way. The youth especially, me of course, right? Like nobody wants to be told how to do this, but like, you have to allow people to speak into your life in a way that goes, crap, that is true about me. And yes, I think it is to my detriment. So how do I know when a better way to look at this? Use of technology for one.
So I think if bucket number one is probably a very you can say I need to be intentional about this, but like you tend not to know you are unintentional until you get on the other side of it, right? So I do think it is something. Okay, this is going to seem maybe ironic's not the word I want, but like you're going to have to intentionally look at your intentional use of the phone, like something to think about at the end of the day and go, how did I do here?
Isn't it ironic?
Well,
Maybe even some family rules, like, hey, no phones during supper or something, or whatever you come up with after 8 o'clock or whatever.
Maybe we just suck at making intentional things intentional anyway. So like, if I wanted to look at my day and go, what are the 3 things that I want to get done every day? Like these have to be intentional to me, and then everything else can pretty much fall where it lay. Do you think we're intentional with nothing, right? Like if you were to say, look, I'm gonna play this guitar for half hour every day, and that is not one of the negotiables for me. Like, and so I will find a place, and that is gonna get written in stone. Everything else can get written in pencil, and I can move it as I see fit.
I mean, yeah, it's big rocks and little rocks. Like you got to figure out what are the things you want to absolutely get done and be intentional about those things and let everything else fall around.
And most of the time, like your life responsibilities will dictate some of that for you.
Yeah,
right.
Again, that's the thing though, is that like how many things, like I would say the thing that I make sure gets done every day is I go to work and do my work, but like that's not me being intentional. I'm shackled to that. I have to do it. I'm accountable to somebody else. Like but like, what do I do with my non-controlled time?
Yeah. There's no reason to be upset about the work thing or the school thing. You already have to do it.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
You're fooling yourself.
What helped me a ton back in the day was the old Franklin planner system. It was the ABC 1, 2, 3 thing, right? You write everything you're going to do down, make a list, sorry. Give an A to everything that has to be done, a B to like, yeah, it really should get done, a C to like, I'd like to do it, but it's not important. And then you go back and go 1, 2, 3, go to the A's, what's first. And then
that's
you
where
you spend minutes. That's a Franklin planner. Yep. Covey.
Somebody did that today.
Yeah.
I saw that somebody at work did that. They go,
You
hey,
saw
I put
Franklin Covey?
I put it was my boss. He put a spreadsheet together and he's like, I put these into A, B's, and C's, and then I ranked the list. And I'm like, well, that's kind of handy.
I have a little calendar. I still every once in a while I'll buy the old Franklin just so I can do that because I can't do
Franklin
that on
Covey
my phone.
became the Big Rock Little Rock conversation for me. Like that was another Franklin Covey conversation. Was the Big Rock Little Rock thing.
Man, this
it was
might
put the big rocks in the vase. Like it's put a bunch of little rocks in there, and then you can't fit the big rocks on top of it. So you put the big rocks in first, and then dump in all your little rocks, and then they fill it around it, and so you get everything you need to in the one vase. And that was time management of scheduling your big things and letting little things fall around it, like the random email that you have to respond to, or the video clip that your friend sends you that's 30 seconds long. Like, let it fill around thing.
So that's the great point, right? Because the 30-second video gets to own you right now as soon as it shows up. That can't be right, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it's a filtering system of priority.
That's right.
God, you've got to be there's the underpin here, like there's a discipline that's underpinning to a lot of this that we just lack in general.
Which
like,
means it's a skill, not a talent. Like you have to learn.
Yeah.
to
oh,
do it.
absolutely,
That's right.
yes, 100%. This is something you have to be intentional
dedicated
about,
to it,
is getting
yeah.
to and stuff like that, like getting disciplined to do things. Like, what are the things that have to get done that you absolutely will not budge? And discipline is what dictates that. Because even if you say, I have to get this done, a lot of times we still don't. Like, it gets thrown to 2 days from now or a week from now, or we forget it entirely. It's a lack of discipline.
Yeah, I think thinking of discipline as a skill, not a talent, is important, because lest you go, oh, I'm not very good at that.
I'm not very
Okay.
disciplined as a person.
Well, then you need to work on that.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah,
Do you brush your teeth? Work on that first.
For the sake of everyone.
Yeah, but like legitimately, that skill versus talent situation. Like, take those little things and make them like intentional. Like, we brush our teeth. Do it 2 times a day. Make your bed in the morning. That's why, like, Navy dudes will always say that too. We're like, making your bed in the morning and making certain it is done 100% of the time is one of the biggest things you can do to like start developing that discipline, because it's no longer a thing that like, I might do that or I might not do that. It is 100% when I wake up, it is made. And so when you come home, it's there. It's done for you, and you can feel that when you get home and you get to hop into a nice bed.
Because the freedom of not making your bed, it's false freedom.
Right.
What it makes you feel like is you're in control whether you get to make your bed or not. But really what's in control is your laziness
Yes.
and your
Yeah,
irresponsibility.
why would you not do something
'Cause you
that's
still
good
gotta
for you
straighten it
with
up.
the control that you have?
When you go to
That's
sleep.
being foolish if you're willingly choosing not to do something that is constructive with the freedom that you have to whether do it or not.
That's right. It's the story of sin, right? It's not on the same level, right? But like this is what sin looks like. Sin looks like false freedom, right? It
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
I get to make any choices that I want, and I am better because I am free. And like what you're basically doing is allowing shackles to come, and you're slowly getting pinned down, like, because it eventually catches up with you. Everybody that goes down a road of sinful behavior, it always ends up putting you in a place you didn't want to be, right? And because you thought, well, freedom got me here, and what Christ is offering is actual freedom, and he says actual freedom comes with these ways, and comes with these thoughts, and comes with this responsibility, and that's what actually produces freedom. But like easy freedom usually comes with a cost that you
Right.
had no intention of paying.
Yeah, there's legit freedom daily being in the Word and daily praying to God and having that conversation, the relationship with Him that is constant and disciplined. Not because it's something that has to happen or it's your checkbox. It's because that's your plug-in to where real freedom lives.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know if this is gonna make it sense, but like at least for me, not making my bed doesn't feel like a freedom, but it feels like a shackle if I have to. And so like I think most of that time, because it's not like I feel free most of the time when I'm lazy. When I don't clean my room, when my room's a mess, it just feels like normal. But then when I have to clean it for like the 6th time this week because it just keeps getting dirty, cleaning it again and again and again feels like the shackle.
Speak to it, Mike.
You're a slob.
Yeah, so like you got a problem with authority.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got something to say on the bed thing.
Me too. But go ahead, Grace.
I mean, I usually don't make my bed because I sleep with like my leg wrapped around the blanket and like hugging the blanket.
Yeah.
So like I don't even sleep under the blanket. So like I mean, what's the point of making it if I'm gonna
Realize
rip it up the second I get in there?
That statement isn't about like, hey, you should make your bed because like that's the way you're going to sleep in it. I do the same thing. I get that. But like the fact of the matter is it's doing something intentional and being disciplined about it and using that as a way to build discipline in your heart and in your mind of things that have to get done constantly. So that as you develop that concept of discipline in your life and getting better at doing even mundane and unnecessary things, you build that. It's worked for me in certain ways of like things I have to get done and things I know need to be done. I do them every day because it's a pain in the butt, but it helps me build that. I feel more disciplined if in other things that I have more freedom in, if things that really don't matter, I'm still doing and creating routines and things like that.
I feel like it would just be more useful, or I guess I guess it'd be better if like instead of like making my bed every morning, which I'm never gonna use, I'm just gonna get in the bed, tear it up, blankets around, like legs around a blanket anyway. If I like did something that was actually useful to me, like
But
I
you're
went
not.
downstairs
Yeah,
and
but
like
you
made
don't.
breakfast.
But you're not.
But that's the whole point. Is like the discipline that's being pushed on you in this season of life, right? Is teaching you a skill so you can use that discipline for the things that you want to do later in life. The point is not to make your bed. The point is learning how to be disciplined in something. And it's even better of a lesson when you're being disciplined in something you don't want to do.
Right.
Because that is actually discipline.
And your life will be full of things you don't want
Right.
to do.
If my discipline was get up every day and drink a soda at 7 a.m., that's not discipline because I want to do
boy,
that
this
anyway.
is rough
You know,
stuff.
Getting
I
up
just
at
hate
7
the
a.m.?
suppression.
Man, I hate these 7 a.m. sodies.
That's right. But like the discipline is because there's going to come a time, right? And this is a skill that almost no one learns anymore, right? Because you don't have to. But like you find people that are successful at something, it's because they can discipline themselves into doing something they don't want to do. Because every road to the thing that you want, it has discipline.
There's
in
bumps.
It has discipline in it to get past bumps, to get past setbacks, right? And if you don't have the skill of being disciplined in something, then you will never achieve what you wanted to, and you will feel like a big fat failure.
I can tell you that I grew up in an incredibly undisciplined house. I just flat out did. Like, my parents did not push anything on me. I didn't have a lot of chores that I had to get done. I wasn't responsible for basically anything in my house. I didn't need to make my bed. Legit, my parents didn't even do the whole checkup on, like, hey, did you brush your teeth situation. Like, I was terrible at that stuff when I was 10, 11, 18 even. Like, it's gross, but it was the truth. I grew up very undisciplined. And as an adult, what I find is I find myself lacking when I have to do things and I need to get things done. I do not have that basis or that disciplined bone in my body. It has been a fight as a grown-up to have to go, well, I have to do the dishes today. Well, why? Well, because if I wait 6 days, it's going to be gross. I have to cook today. Well, why? Well, even though I don't want to, it's because if I don't, I'm going to have an excuse to go get fast food.
Which is
15
funny
times
because
this
you
week.
think when the time comes, you'll step up. You think if
You
I'm
will
ever
not.
in this situation where like I should check my tire pressure
Yep.
before I leave, I'll just do it because that makes all kinds of sense. Only to find out that you've gone undisciplined your whole life. You will look at the tire and go, I don't know. I bet we could make it till I get back from the gas station.
And then your tire blows.
And then you're tired. You know what I'm saying? Like it's because it really is a skill that you have
Yeah.
to learn. And so like understand that like it is harder when it's coming from somebody else. It's better when it comes from you.
Right.
But you don't have skills to do it right now. Otherwise, you would be doing it on your own.
And when you can come to a situation like having to make your bed, something that means nothing, and something you really don't want to do, and something that just seems like a pain in the teeth, but you get it done and with discipline, continue to do that over and over again and build those habits that are maybe mundane and may not be changing to your whole world when there are things that could change your whole world, that are hard things that you don't want to do, but you've built that concept of discipline as a skill in yourself. It is so much easier, and it is much less trudging up Mount Everest than it would have been if you wouldn't have had that undergirded concept of discipline, even in the light of things you don't want to do or don't matter.
Yeah, the process sucks, though.
It sure does.
It's
It's hard.
infuriating.
So every few years, I teach through the class of the spiritual disciplines, prayer,
Right.
fasting, meditation, solitude, so forth. And I'm starting it again on Wednesday, and I think I got 35 people signed up. I mean, they're just flocking to
Oh,
it
wow.
because we're not disciplined.
Right.
Yeah, nobody
as
does
people, and they're all like they're craving it. It's like I want spiritual growth. Well, it's making your bed every day, except it's instead of that, it's 15 minutes of reading.
Right.
It's actually praying rather than saying, "Oh yeah, I got a prayer life." It's, it's on my list, and it's like, no, you don't. And it's creating those disciplines spiritually that radically transform your life. We're waiting for an experience, a mountaintop, or whatever. No, it's the disciplines that actually do that guide you, that do everything you need in life for you to have a connection with God and a thriving relationship. It requires discipline, not
Right.
the E chord, right? I mean, it's through the disciplines, and we're terrible at it. I say I am terrible
Yeah,
at
same.
Every
discipline.
frustration in my life is based on an area where I'm undisciplined.
Yeah.
Every single
Yeah,
one.
Me too.
Dang. I'm convicting myself. Crap.
Yeah, and I'm not throwing you two under the bus saying,
Oh,
hey,
no.
you're young, like get this down. I'm 31 years old. I turn 32 next month. I'm still struggling with this hardcore. And I wish that I would have grabbed a hold of this 13 years ago. Like I really wish many things, but this is one of the biggest ones that like my life has been directly affected in negative ways because of my lack of discipline.
I mean, if it adds any light to this conversation, I've been making myself get up and make breakfast in the mornings. I hate eating breakfast in the mornings. It makes me feel sick. But I don't like food
Maybe
in the
you
mornings.
should cook it better.
Yeah, maybe that's
Just a
a
thought.
good idea. But like I've been making myself get up and make breakfast because I don't know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day or whatever. And like because most days I'll end up like forgetting I'll get focused on something and then I won't eat till like 3 p.m. I'll be like, man, I didn't eat anything. But like some days I'll be like, oh, I mean, I had breakfast earlier. I cooked something. I dirtied a pan, so
There
that
it is.
sucks. But I cooked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
we're-
thing though.
but
Is like
like-
when you get to walk back into your bedroom and look at that bed and go, "Oh yeah."
And yeah, it's the concept
Yeah.
if it's a quick accomplishment too. Like I don't know if you guys struggle with like feeling like you never get anything done.
I guess mine's the concept
And-
of staying alive by eating.
I suppose that's fair. And regardless of the breakfast is the most important meal of the day situation, like I'm proud of you for being intentional about that.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing there is you said you wanted to do something and you're doing it. That's huge. And another comment, the bed thing is it's seeing something done. What I struggle in a lot of the times is I feel like my tasks are very like in the clouds and I don't really get a lot of a sense of completion in a lot of situations. And so what happens is like I feel like I've got 1,000 open pages but no read books. And so it drives me nuts because I'm like I feel like nothing's actually happening for me because I don't have any measure of success with what's going on. But if I've got little things like I got my dishes done or walk into my room, my bed's made, or I made certain I cleaned the bathroom this week, like I can show something is done. My brain can go, ha-ha, success. And the concept of success is not just push past the horizon every time. I can see it and it's done.
I guess that's a bit difficult for me to get. I mean, like as a teenager, I have two trains of thought that can switch at any second. One of them is I'm 15 years old. I should not like there is no reasonable expectation for me to have finished I guess what am I thinking of? What's the word? Like an example, metaphor? I don't know. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's the thing: is what I was thinking of while you were talking is like this is why I like to mow the yard, right?
Just
Like-
see it get done.
Right, because it's done,
Yep.
and like there's no surprises. Like maybe the mower breakdown every once in a while, but like it's repeatable.
Yep.
And there's a pattern to it, and when it's done, you can get and go. It's done, right? And like it's the same reason like I like mundane tasks because you're as you get older, your responsibilities are 1,000 open books, and none of them are like coming to fruition. And you're like, I just want to see an accomplishment somewhere.
Your brain
And-
needs that.
Yeah, and so like it's like we don't have any carpet, but like vacuuming is super relaxing for people, right? Like you just go and I volunteered to clean the pool because I just like to see a difference for
Yep.
me if had
I
been
started
there.
a task, I finished a task, and I can mark where it was done.
Yes, and you can say like there's a delineation here, right? This happened, and like there's a difference for me have been there, and like even if you pick something stupid like leaving soda cans throughout the house or something, you go, you know what? From now on, no soda cans.
Right.
And then you do it, and then you walk into every room going, I don't see no soda cans. Nailed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do anything, but like it really is a skill. It's a
Right.
skill, and it's a tough skill to learn.
It's okay. Is there a way to help someone feel accomplishment in like small things? Because I think, like, if I take my room for example, my room's almost always a mess.
Mhm.
It takes me forever to clean it, and then before I know it, it's a mess again. And so like, I don't feel successful when it's clean. I don't walk in like I'll like it for a day and I'll try to keep it for a day, but then like it's clean, okay. And then but once it's dirty again, then I'm like, oh, now your room is dirty again. And so like I only end up feeling the failure end
This
instead
is
of
sin, so grace
good.
should abound.
So
Maybe that's where the list comes in, because then
Yeah.
you at least get to check it off.
there's an exhaustion that comes with like I'm always constantly having to do this. I'm always failing this because I never do it right. And it's been 6 days since I cleaned my room and it's a nightmare again, right?
Even if think of it, it could be as innocuous as like the laundry and the dishes never stop at my house.
Right, yeah.
6 people in my house, right? Hey, the dishes are done. Weren't they just done like 6 hours ago?
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that when it comes to that, like, part of it is there's a discipline to not letting get dirty again. Like, if you're walking in there throwing everything on the ground and going crazy on your art counter or whatever, like throwing paint at the wall or whatever, oh man, my place is dirty again. That's kind of on you, left. Like, you gotta be there's a level of like, hey, don't throw your clothes on the ground every time. Get a hamper. Like, if
hamper's full of
use your
clothes.
hamper. If there's a bunch of trash around, get a trash can. And if you have a trash can, use it. Like there's a certain level of intentionality.
The trash can is
to-
also full.
Yeah, take the trash out. So here's the real situation though. Break it into little things. Like break it into little tasks that you can feel accomplished for. Because if your task is constantly clean the room, and it feels like you're always having to do it over and over again, and it never done, and then sometimes it gets super messy, so it feels like a failure situation, right? And those suck. Those weigh heavy, and it hurts. Break it into smaller things. It is no longer 0 or 100. It is 0 to 5 means I picked up the trash on my dresser. 10% may be I picked up that shirt on the floor. If it's got to be that, I've been in that situation before. Because if I'm being very honest here, when I feel super depressed in situations, my room is reflected in that. Because it's the easiest place to give up. It is the easiest place to give up on any concept of discipline.
Ain't no one judging me in
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Any concept of discipline, any concept of like responsibility or failure. I'm too exhausted, too tired because everything's crazy. Everything's always on fire. I don't want to have to deal with this. In those moments, I've been in a situation where I've had to be dug out of a room before. And I hate saying that. It was a time in my life when I was very depressed. I was covered in food bags and trash and everything like that. It was disgusting where I was living. But someone helped me by coming in and helping me clean the room so that I didn't feel overwhelmed because it wasn't just me doing it. But what I had to do in that moment was go, how do I make certain this never happens again? Okay, well, if it's exhausting to go 0 to 100, what's 5%? 5% is I picked up that trash in that section right there. 10% is I picked up the clothes off the floor. 25% is I wiped down my mirror, right? Like 50% means that there's no trash, there's no random clothes on the floor. I know I've got laundry in the hamper, but I'm better than when I was at 20%. And it's allowing yourself to no longer just put success way off over past the horizon. It can be right in front of you by you right-sizing the things that need to get done. And when you have that kind of concept where it's like, wait, I went from 0 to 5. I'm not at 100, but I feel good about the fact that I'm infinitely better having gone 0 to 5%. And 5 to 10 may not seem like a lot, but there's improvement there. And I can be proud of myself for that. And when I'm able to take those kind of steps to make a bigger step to what you go from 0 to 5, it's crazy. You go from 5 to 25, it's nuts. You go from 25 to 75% of the stuff is done, your life is changed. Because you take advantage of the fact that I may not be perfect, but I am miles ahead from where I used to be.
I mean, with the room and the soda can thing, though, like, the soda can shouldn't be in the house anyway. The fact that they're there, or like, the room shouldn't be dirty anyway. The fact that it's dirty or the soda cans are there in the first place means I'm already failing.
No, the reality of the situation is whatever that may be, that doesn't mean that you can't change now to the next second.
Yeah,
you
and-
can look at it in the past and go, yeah, it shouldn't have been that way in the first place, but having that conversation with yourself in that moment does not fix anything.
It's also not a failure.
Right,
Like
yeah.
it is not ranked that way at all, right? Like
You're putting it that way.
yes. And to Buva's point, like this is exactly what it looks like to build a Bible reading
Absolutely.
discipline, right? Like you don't have to go from 0 to Billy Graham today, right? Like get a chapter in, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Read a psalm.
Yeah, read a psalm, right? And this is what it looks like. And like all this disciplines are disciplines, and they work the same way through spiritual disciplines as they do through regular living disciplines. Is like you got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and you just start.
Right.
You just start. Like I mean, to be real honest, my wife nails this. She's a very disciplined person. I am not at all, and like I've never been. But I say that because like I just don't try very hard, until I start looking at her discipline, and I'm like, well, I could grab my pants. Like it doesn't have to be obvious where I took off my pants. You know what I'm saying? For evidence later, I could just pick them up and put them somewhere.
I didn't understand the connection right there. You said my wife is a really good Bible reader, and I could grab my pants.
No, I didn't say Bible
Discipline's
reader.
a
all got
general.
skills.
I said disciplined person, right? Like,
Oh,
like,
okay.
like, yeah,
Okay.
and like she is a very good Bible reader, by the way. But like, but
And she doesn't leave pants on the ground ever.
yeah, and she doesn't. Like, you don't ever find her pants just hanging around. And so like, it's what Buva's nailing it, right? Like, this is what it looks like to start Bible reading. Like, you don't go up going, God, I know I'm a failure. I'm gonna try to put down all of Corinthians today. How does this offering smell to you? He's like, useless. It smells useless to me, right? Like I can't do anything with this.
It smells lukewarm because
Yeah,
tomorrow you're not going to
but
read
find
anything.
me when you read 3 verses and then prayed about it. Find me there, and let's start with that today and see what that looks like.
But
Yeah.
then when I start with the little things and when I fail at those, when I inevitably will, then it just feels even worse because you're like, now you can't even do the smallest bit.
I understand that. I do. And here's the thing is it sounds like there's a self-imposed failure on these things that's coming from another place, right? Like, nobody wakes up in the morning and feels failure at the fact that they didn't pick up the pop can on the floor. There's more stuff happening. And so there may be a level of conversation that needs to happen to go, what kind of expectations do I feel exist? What kind of expectations do I feel like I'm being told I'm failing at? What kind of expectations do I feel like I'm telling myself I'm failing at? And grace abounds in a lot of these conversations. Because, like, you're never going to be 100% perfect. It's impossible. You will not be that way. But, like, there is success in 0 to 5%. That's why I was saying that. Like, even if the next day you fail at the 5%, okay, guess what? There's another next day. There's another next day after that.
Yeah,
and
it
it
sounds like self-imposed failures, like that aren't really failures.
I mean, when you said, like, what expectations are other people putting on me? I mean, like I probably should be following those expectations.
Agreed.
Like, I'm following the expectations of a 40-year-old man and I'm a 15-year-old girl. Who has more knowledge in this situation? Probably not me.
Yeah.
I mean, there are rightful expectations in your life that you should be living up to, and yes, you should be rising to the occasion in those moments. But, like, if that conversation is going to where you feel like you're failing at all times, even in little things that you're imposing, like, there's a conversation to be had that goes, hey, how can I right-size this situation? How can I rise to the occasion still? Because I don't believe the answer is, well, no expectations for everybody because it doesn't feel right half the time.
Yeah.
You've got to rise to it. Like, there is probably some 40-year-old to 15-year-old stuff that you aren't doing great that you need to get better at. Like, there's no doubt about it. But it shouldn't be every day as a war zone when it comes to expectations because, like, I didn't clean my room today. Like, that's not a level of peace that we're called to have and feel. Like, there's some stuff that you need to rise to, and there's some stuff we always need to get better at and continue to iterate to be better and better and better as we grow up and mature. But, like, if every day is I'm crippled by failure and anxiety, there's something going on.
I mean, I feel like most of the time I'm mad at myself for being mad at myself. Like, what is this pity party? Am I a sitcom character? What is this?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like this is what people in TV shows do. Is they feel bad. This is a character trait. I'm a real human being. I can pull myself up by my bootstraps, and here I am sitting in my pity. What am I doing?
Do you want to know where a lot of, like, go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Well, yeah, you know what's interesting, Grace, is that, like, there's almost a little bit of emotional list building in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
don't say that word. Not list.
I know. Like, that's what hit me is, like, it's interesting because sometimes we spend a lot of time in our own minds trying to sort out where things have. Hey, where do they go wrong? Why can't I do any better? Blah, blah, blah. When you know what you could do? You just do the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing that triggered all the stuff, instead of the emotional list building, go, okay, I can't seem to get it right, but someone brought it to my attention. I go, you know what? I am on it. I'm going to go do this thing right now. And then you're at least 5 steps ahead of sorting out why you didn't do it yesterday, but you took care of it right away type of thing. Like, because I think there is a load in here that, like, tries to resolve a current problem and then why it's been a problem. Like, it's a very kind of psychoanalysis thing. But like, this was part of what I was thinking when the example, God is super gracious, but, like, sometimes your parents aren't. And
right.
Yeah, that's true.
And sometimes your spouse isn't.
Sometimes
Yep.
you're not to yourself.
Sometimes you're
Right.
not to yourself.
But here's the thing. Sometimes like what we mistake, grace doesn't always mean, hey, just let it go.
Right.
Like, if I put pants and I left them on the floor 15 days in a row, does it make sense when my wife goes, look, man, you just need to get it
Yes.
right? Like, it doesn't mean you suck as a person, but you have been sucking at this.
Yeah, this pants situation needs to resolve.
Right, and it's okay. Like, that's the thing is reduce is we got to be careful that we don't put too much of a load on. Hey, I don't have to. Pants problem doesn't mean I suck as a person, but it does mean I suck at the pants thing, and I do need to fix it.
I was
Right.
so bad at this when we first got married, so bad about this, right? She'd bring up the smallest thing about me, and I would take it as, like, you treat me as if I'm the worst husband ever, right? Like, I would turn it into this huge thing where, like, there was no room for her to speak into my life because I was so sensitive to the fact that I had screwed something up. And, like, it would create massive
Yeah.
problems out of nothing. Right, because I had no confidence in myself. I was worried about, people thinking less of me. I was self-imposed failures left and right, and I wore them heavy. And so
that had to be rough. You guys were kind of barbaric.
Yeah. that ain't no
I've
doubt.
heard the stories of your bachelor years.
Oh man. But thing is, it only mattered when I ran into somebody that I cared about their opinion, right? Like, Ben comes say the same thing. I'm like, go away, Ben.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about that.
Not to get hyper emotional on it, but you guys know me well enough. I'm going to. And you can call upon this as something that may seem similar, but this is my experience, and see if anything sniffs similar. You don't have to be identifying where I'm at. A lot of the times when I have like an overwhelming sense of failure on even little things, when I take a step back, that's not the main thing. That's not the actual problem. That is symptomatic of something else that's going on. Whether it is a depression in my life that I've got going on where I feel generally worthless or don't feel like I deserve to be in the circles that I'm in or have the relationships that I'm in or whatever, I feel like I didn't pay the cost of existence to even be in a place where I could even think to myself to be able to do a normal thing like clean my room or like do my homework or get my chores done or something like that. It is a symptom of a bigger thing. And so when I find myself in a place where I'm undisciplined and everything feels exhausting and everything feels like a failure and I feel like I can't even do the little things, rarely ever is that the real thing. It's one step backwards to where I go, okay, I've got to get my base set where I'm like, none of this situation eliminates my worth as a human being. Like, I'm worthy of being in the conversation. I'm worthy of being in the mass that I'm taking up and the air that I'm breathing. If I can hold those things to be true, that I belong here, then it's no longer a situation where now I'm failing in everything. It's like, well, if that's off the table to be something I have to fight through, then it's just the next thing is, well, I just got to get something done. And it's not so exhausting anymore because I'm not sitting here having to fight for my own worth. When that's taken off the table, my next fight can be all of my brain goes into get the thing done. Okay, the thing's done. Move past it. Even if I failed at it a little bit, there's grace to be had that I put forth effort and I did it. And I started doing it. Whether, like I said before, it's the 5% of something or it's 80% of something. It's no longer I'm fighting to be worthy of this. It's just normal living. And like when I feel worthy of the conversation and when I know that God's got me and I've got a firm foundation, a lot of this stuff starts to solve itself because I'm no longer having to fight to be there. I belong there. I'm just doing normal stuff.
I'm realizing that this is probably the source of a lot of my problems because I just thought, and it kind of fits with what Uncle Mike said, is that I think when I feel like I failed,
Yeah.
then I feel guilty for failing,
Right.
and then guilt makes me defensive. And so
Yeah.
when Mom's like, "Why didn't you clean your room?" Then I start arguing with her,
Yep.
like making up all these reasons. I start defending not cleaning my room like I think I shouldn't have. Well, why should I clean my room? Doesn't matter to me if it's clean. When in the reality, I just feel guilty for not cleaning my room.
I think that's an incredibly mature conversation that you just had with yourself to go like, maybe this is the reality of what's happening. And like being an adult and being mature and growing up, part of that is to understand that like the thing that's most present here, like the big thing that's blowing up or the thing that's most prevalent or most present in front of my face is not actually what's happening. There's something back here that's going on. Why am I angry in this moment? Okay, take a step back. Where's that anger coming from? Did I do something that I failed at? Did I even is failure even a conversation to be had?
Yeah, why is
No.
this word even
Yeah,
here?
Why
Yeah.
am I even thinking that failure's
Yeah.
present? It's not. It's not a pass-fail situation.
Dude.
It's, I should have cleaned my room. I didn't. Well, I should clean my room.
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than just
It's not
sit
a
here.
failure.
Yeah,
I just didn't do it.
Yeah, you didn't do it. Okay, live in that. Give yourself grace, but that doesn't mean you don't go clean your friggin' room.
I'm at my worst when I'm feeling guilty. And
Absolutely.
Just at
we
my
are
absolute
terrible creatures
worst.
of guilt. There's
Yeah.
a reason that the Lord exactly.
You see that a lot
Man.
in addiction, when people
Yes.
have tried really hard to not do whatever the addiction,
Yep.
and then they do it and they fall, then they feel terrible, then they're all, no, I'll just go, and they
Yep.
do it more, and
Yep.
it's just a circular
Man,
thing.
The angriest moments between you and I have been in my guilt. Absolutely 100%. When I'm guilty of something, I lash out.
Hey, he's talking to Mike. Just okay.
I'm
that's-
talking to Mike, sorry.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
lash out. I lash out in guilt. That's exactly same creature. Like
Yep.
this is we all do this.
Yep. Grace, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that. I mean, a lot of times I'll use honesty to get out of a butt chewing. Like, they'll be like, "Hey, you were supposed to do this thing. Why didn't you do this thing?" I'll be like, Because I'm a lazy idiot.
All the
I mean, I
self-deprecation
usually,
for the win.
I
That's all I
usually
wanted
don't,
to hear.
I don't add the idiot part, but most often, except for when I've done something stupid that I know I shouldn't have done, but like most of the time it's because it's because I'm a lazy and
Oh,
fallible human. That's why. Like,
Uh-huh.
so you should go do the thing. I'm like, yeah, I should go do the thing.
Yeah, but I think you're right. But like, if you started out with self-deprecation and the thought that it was a failure and not just a miss, like it holds on too long, right? Like, and it stops us, like it stops us as people from getting the thing done that we even intended, right? Like it's just like the infraction pays 10 times the cost. It's a horrible roulette wheel. You know what I'm saying? Like you finally win, but now the cost of the fail costs so much. And no matter how hard you try, you're never going to nail it every time. So now you're holding 10 times the guilt all the time.
Yeah, and it's often 10 times. Emma, back to your example. Think of how many times, like, you didn't do something that you're supposed to do. This is not for you in general. This is in general, I guess. But, like, you don't do something you're supposed to do, start defending yourself. And now, for having not done one thing, now you're in, like, a long conversation,
Right.
drawn out. You're saying stuff you probably shouldn't say.
Yep.
Rising up people's anger. Like, the cost of not having done the one thing and then gone to bat about it is 10 times more than going,
Right.
yeah, I missed that. I'm
And
going
you
to go take care
know
of it.
damn well you could have done the thing. You purposely did not do it. You're like, I didn't pick up that pizza box.
Man, I hate long conversations. Like I'll always try. Like I'll get called and say, "Hey, why didn't you do this thing?" And then it turns into a whole conversation about like and see and you guys don't do the things like this. I'm like okay, I get it. I messed up. Can we stop talking? I'll do the thing and I'll make you happy, and then you don't have to give me the roast no more. Can I amend this?
No, it makes
Can I
me
just
feel
fix
better.
this?
The guilt and the failure and the grace conversation really kind of does mirror itself in my walk with Christ too, because like if I'm stuck in guilt and failure and how crappy I am and like how I'm never going to do this right and I'm never going to get to the point where I need to be, I start sinning like crazy. Like I literally just go, what's the point? Like what is the point if I'm going to fail at this forever and I suck? Because there's no situation in which I don't, so I might as well just go off the friggin' deep end.
Yeah.
But the Lord comes in and he goes, that's not the conversation here.
Right.
I've
Who are you talking
right.
to?
I've completely eliminated this concept of failure. If you call me your king and your God, I have erased it from the situation. It's not on your scales any longer. My grace comes with the fact that, yeah, you're going to screw up, but that doesn't give you a pass. That means you still try to get better at this, and you build yourself in maturity, and you grow in things like this. The Lord has completely taken away the consequence of sin, but that doesn't mean you get to act like a boob. Like, you got to figure it out and live your life. It's not a failure when you screw up. I mean, it is. Don't take it like crazy, like there's no such thing as sin. I don't believe that. But, like, it's not failure from the perspective of, like, it's worth it to just jump off the deep end. It just means get back on the friggin' road. Like, the Lord has taken that away from you. Stop living in sin and failure and guilt forever. Get back on the road and walk with Him.
You know, I mean, so the fear, guilt, self-deprecation conversation that's going on right now, I had almost the exact same conversation with the gal I'm doing Bible study with this morning, and I like passed it off like, I'm not self-deprecating. I am the definition of the cool sunglasses emoji. Emma can attest. I sent her that exact text this morning, and the Lord brought it up again. I'm like, dang it, maybe I am.
Hey, Grace, the identity that you tell people that they have because of how much God loves them completely means you too. Just a heads up.
Yeah.
It completely means you as well. You are forgiven. You are loved. You are such a wonderful creature and a loved daughter of the Lord. And what you call upon for your friends when you're trying to help them is the exact same person that you are. And so those moments of self-deprecation, remember that God doesn't depreciate your value. He builds you up and tells you that you are great and His daughter.
And He created you to sleep like that, but you still got to make your bed.
Yeah.
But you're still going to make your
So
bed.
you know what I found very freeing about this conversation? Like you,
Love you.
when you keep screwing up and not reading your Bible, doesn't mean that you don't love Jesus. It means you got no discipline, friend. This is not a crisis of faith. It's a crisis of you have no discipline.
Yeah.
Right, your
Girl,
faith
wash your
didn't
hair.
change. God didn't go anywhere. Jesus ain't mad.
Yeah.
You're just irresponsible and lazy. That's
He didn't
the
move.
problem.
He's standing right there going, seriously, I'm still right here.
Still here.
Yeah.
I guess I'll make another pot of
Do
coffee.
you not want this cloak and this ring? Get over here.
Hey, that sounds like some self-deprecation talk over there.
What's that?
You're irresponsible
I mean,
and lazy. I got
well,
yelled for
well,
saying that exact thing this morning by my Bible study.
He's
lady.
not saying he's stupid. He's saying he's undisciplined and to get
Yeah, I'm
friggin'
saying
put your boots on.
But the thing is like I've been guilty of this in the past. I'm like, man, I just don't feel like I'm walking with the Lord, and like we just feel so far apart.
Let me run
like,
30
like,
miles backward.
Like a big crisis of faith, you know. But the truth is, I just got no discipline. I got no discipline, and so like, do I want to spend time with Jesus? Yes. Do I love the Lord? Yes. Will I tell people how great He is? Yes. Did I read my Bible today? I don't know. I couldn't seem to square it in. Right? It's a discipline problem, and it's a skill, not a talent. And so, like, because I'd be just as guilty of this if, like, when I don't read my Bible, like me and Boova are on a Bible reading accountability group. Boova's nailing it. Mike is not. And so, like, I'm nailing it 3 days out of the week and going, man, I don't know. I just want to be on fire for the Lord. I don't know why I'm chasing after everything else. I got my priorities all screwed up. I need to put God as the focus. And the truth is, He still is. I just got no discipline.
Yep.
Hey, what's that one meme, the Scooby-Doo one? Like, man, I wonder who's ruining my relationship with the Lord. And they pull the mask off Fred, and it's him.
That is
Fred pulls off the mask and it's another Fred.
That's my favorite meme.
Who's responsible for all my problems?
What?
Man, it's me.
Dan, I feel like you've
There's a
always
sinner
been
here.
pretty good at discipline. Like, is it a thing? Is it really a skill? Like, you started learning it a long time ago? I know you have failures at this, but like in general, when you say you're going to do something, you tend to stick with it.
I mean, I'm like a hugely undisciplined person, but if it's big, I do. I just
Like fasting, you're always very consistent
Agreed,
Yeah.
yes.
with your fasting, as
Yeah.
an example.
I think it's the making bed thing.
Yeah.
It's like because I need to do it,
Right.
And that's enough for you.
and that's enough. It's like okay, it's biblical. It's important. I was thinking when you were talking there, you were saying explaining spiritually what we were just talking about with the bed thing and the room thing. I want to be on fire for Jesus. I want my room entire clean. Oh crap! I didn't read my Bible today. Oh, I didn't make my bed. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, it's all the same. It's all the same.
Right. Yes.
And so it's the little things that add up to a vibrant faith. And I guess I've done a lot of little things, but I'm fairly inconsistent like anybody else. You know. But because I'm committed to these disciplines, and I'm teaching them now because I wanted to be reminded, to be honest.
Yeah.
And evidently everybody else did too. Or not everybody, but you know what I'm saying.
35 people.
So that's the whole thing. You just got to keep doing it. I was raised much like you. I always say I was raised by wolves, and I really was. I mean,
Yeah.
Dad worked nights, Mom was gone during the week, so
Yep.
I literally was on my own, you know,
Right.
and my older brothers, so yeah, I had zero discipline growing up. So you know, I'm just a couple years older than you are, and I still
Right.
struggle with discipline.
Yep.
And so yeah, but you got to make yourself. You just decide.
And we
Anybody
can.
You can.
We can attest, like, as a group through experience where you have been disciplined, that like it felt like freedom.
Oh, it's,
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
best.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the absolute best.
You know what? You know, a lot of my fasts have to do with my children. I fasted per semester, school, blah blah. My youngest just graduated from dental school Friday, and it was almost emotional thinking of all the prayer that went into that.
Yeah.
I mean, she did the work, she did the stuff, and everything. But it's like now I'm like, crap. What's going to keep me going?
Dude,
Yeah.
what a wide open world to say, like, you've spent your time focused fasting and prayer for your two kids.
Decades now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
obviously
grandkids are
other
coming,
things were involved,
but
but
like,
that was like the focus.
You know what?
Yeah.
What's interesting on that thought process of like what the discipline is actually like shown up for you is like there's a faith that God is going to move when you are
absolutely,
disciplined.
100%.
Like there's a faith that like God will reveal to you who He is when you in discipline constantly find yourself in His Word. God will show you the blessings that He wants to shower upon you when you are in discipline, fasting and praying and following those things, because it's a trust in He is who He says He is.
Yeah.
And we don't have to worry about like there is benefits to this because God doesn't fail.
Yeah.
God will show up in every one of these things, because if you in discipline fast, He will answer prayers and you will be reminded of who He is. You will be closer to Him. There is freedom in constantly finding yourself in His Word, praying to Him, relating to Him, walking with him literally day to day to day.
And it's part of the disciplines is knowing he's actually serious.
Yes.
You know, too. I mean, just today, I don't even know why. I have no idea why I was reading this. I was reading where like Moses, you know, guess what? You don't get to do the promised land. You
Yes.
know? And why? Well, just because you were a dork that one day.
Right.
I mean, it's like, crap. How many times have I been a dork that one day? You know, I mean,
You've been kept out
Many
of many
days.
a promised land,
Yeah.
Dan.
Right.
I mean,
You have yet to enter the promised
but
land.
honestly,
Dan.
that has made me wonder what has not happened in my life because I was not disciplined
Oh, absolutely.
enough
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
really
why,
follow.
Why
I mean,
wouldn't we
because
be
all have
constantly
faults,
praying
but-
if we believed wholeheartedly in faith that God would absolutely move when we pray?
So yeah, I was talking about that this morning with Mike and another fella that like it's not approaching Bible reading and prayer isn't people who don't want to do it and don't want to be faithful to God, but like if you also in addition to an obedience thing thought this matters.
Yeah.
This makes a significant
Stuff
difference.
changes.
And so like it changes what we're praying about. So like it's not because we don't want to, but like you do things at home because you think it's going to make a difference. It's important to you, and
Right.
you see that it matters. And so, like one of the things we're going to focus in prayer on is like, God, can you, where I'm not seeing it, can you reinvigorate me? Show me that this matters, because I think it will. Because to your point, He is, but like it's a one thing to like force yourself to do something out of obedience. I think I'm supposed to mow the lawn, so I do. And the second thing to go, look at that. It looks way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made, and not because we're saying
Look
God.
what happens when I mow.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not posturing to God, say, "Hey, prove it to me." But
Right.
it's going, "I know this is true."
Right.
But like whatever in my bones is not treating it that way. And can you address that part?
Yeah.
Because then it changes everything.
Yeah.
You're listening to Live from the Path. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. I know that was a extended conversation about phone use and room cleaning and trusting in the Lord.
I feel like we got down to the nuts of it, though, right? Like
Yes.
that's the truth. Like we need it's living with intentionality and discipline, and like the main thing to remember before you're too hard on yourself is it's a skill and not a talent. You're gonna have to learn how to do it. You weren't born nailing this thing. You were born in a cracked, broken humanity, and to rebel against authority and things that are good for you. And so like you're going to have to learn it, and it's going to look rough in the beginning, and it's going to look rough in the middle, and maybe it'll smooth a little bit towards the end, but you're still going to be, man, this is rough. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you're going to have to put work into it. And once again, like the adage holds true is like when you're looking at work versus talent, there's a lot of talented people out there, but they better not be outworking you. Because you can control that. You can't control how much talent you've been given, but you can control how much work you can put into it. And so discipline can do that. And working at those things, as I'm already thinking in my head how I can get away with not reading my Bible early tomorrow morning. This is terrible. But like that's where it's all at. And like it's guaranteed freedom. Like this is not a question. This is what freedom looks like. And like I've been through it enough in my life to know that when I call them mountaintop moments, they were born out of discipline. Otherwise, I never saw them, right? Like God is always inviting you up to a mountain, you know. But like when you're not disciplined to look for it or to spend time with Him, you'll miss them all over the time. The man only offers mountains. God's like, I have mountains. Holy Spirit loves on mountains. I got cattle on 1,000 hills. I do everything tall and big and awesome. I want you to see it.
Someone the other day who they want to start this ministry, and they're gonna, it's all this is, you know, woohoo, rah rah, you know, and we're gonna have music and fog and all this stuff, and we're gonna really pump people up. And I really disappointed them. I think, you know what really gets them going on a mountaintop is the disciplines.
Right.
And they're like,
Boo.
where's the
That doesn't
laser
sound
lighting
cool.
that, you know? And it never really responded to me.
That's the thing. But that's the thing.
But
The
it's true.
mountaintop without the disciplines doesn't hold.
Yeah.
Right? The discipline holds, and it's like what sustains a life of peace and joy that God is offering for like a long time. The mountaintop moments, you get up there and then you just fall.
It's how you. Here's the thing. It's how you got there. No one teleports to the top of a mountain. You took one step at a time, and you made your way up the mountain, and you recognized what you were looking at, and you knew what you were walking towards. And it's how you got up there. It's how you're going to get back down. And like, it's just a wrong thought to like that you just transport your way up there and then take the ski lift
Right.
back down.
And you might have slipped a couple times, but you kept walking.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
Dear, live from the past.
Was that you falling down the mountain?
My grandson is 6 and very sensitive, maybe too sensitive.
Oh,
He's also lovable,
This generation.
super scientific minded, good-hearted, and generous with his little sister.
6?
Yeah.
6.
Wow.
Okay.
However, he still uses a diaper at night and has cyclical vomiting syndrome. It's heartbreaking. For that reason, he's on a special gluten-free, no flour, no chocolate diet. The other day at school, he's in kindergarten, they had a presentation with a magician about the danger of drugs and alcohol. Just to let you know,
He's 6.
his parents are very much into teaching their kids morals and values, and they only let him watch cartoons like Paw Patrol and similar programs. No movies and no TV in general. Life from the Path, isn't this too early to introduce the subject of drugs and alcohol to children in school? Anyway, it's not the question.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Okay.
That's a sidebar.
That took a turn.
I mean, just like stating outright, like, I wouldn't have any idea where to find a drug if not for those presentations. Like, seriously, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know the
that's
different types of drugs if they didn't come in and say, "This is a joint."
All right, so what's the legit question?
There's more.
Oh,
My grandson asks, what are drugs and what is alcohol? Long story short, he was super scared and started to cry in class. The school called his parents and he came home devastated. We reassured him that in our homes there are no drugs and alcohol is in a special cabinet only for adults who use it in moderation and only occasionally because it can hurt your body and mind. Finally, he fell asleep still crying and took a short nap. He woke up still worried about the presentation, but Mom and Dad explained there was nothing to worry about and that he was living in a safe house and nobody would hurt him, Mom, or Dad, and no one in his family would be hurt by drugs or alcohol. What is your opinion on this matter of super sensitivity? I love him so much.
that's your question?
Yeah.
Is your super sensitive 6-year-old?
Hey,
Yeah.
is it possible this woman herself is on some medication? at least?
Absolutely. 100% possible.
Anybody who writes into Dear Life from the Past has got to be on something.
Yeah, I still got Quaaludes left over. I metered them out.
I recently got some fentanyl from down in Mexico. I really think my 6-year-old's going to get a hold of it.
What does his cyclical vomiting have and night diaper have to do with anything?
Nothing.
Intrigue.
What
Yeah.
are we
Nothing.
talking about?
He's got
here?
a sensitive way about him. He's got a sensitive stomach.
We're
He's
setting the scene.
He's soft.
Are you trying to say that he's emotionally, physically, and mentally
No.
soft?
That's what she's saying.
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
It's inherited.
I mean, it seems possible. Is she trying? Maybe she just won't come right out and say that. Like, I think they're raising a sissy.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that feel like the implication? Like, look at him, he's gluten free, and
Kid can't hear about drugs and can't eat chocolate
right. Like,
at
but
6.
but like whether it's there's two questions. I think one is like, okay, what is the appropriateness of this at that age? But two, why is your kid freaking out about it? Like, to the extent that he is. What did they say?
I was gonna say if he's worried about not being in a safe home, I wonder if there was a bunch of exposition given in this drug magician conversation that's like, these are the fearful things you should be worried about at home that could happen to a broken home, and here's where drug comes in.
Isn't that the point of the drug and alcohol presentation guide, to scare you straight?
It never
I
works.
think
At
so.
6?
Like, I don't.
Maybe
I,
misguided.
I don't know. Maybe I mean random, like unnecessary number. 20% or less people are actually scared straight through that situation.
I'm
Like,
guessing most
Dare
of that
comes
age
in
aren't
and everybody's
going home
like-
scared. He probably is
I got free
sensitive.
pencils.
yes.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Like-
so like, hey, I think my daughter and husband are coddling this kid to an extent that he's freaked out unnecessarily about things that he shouldn't be freaked out about. And frankly, he may not actually have a gluten-free problem and may not need the diaper, but these parents are stinking it up.
I mean,
That seems to be their implication.
like,
And
you
I
know
would say
what
that's probably right.
Do you know what 6-year-olds think about? You know what 6-year-olds are scared of? The Bermuda Triangle. I was terrified of the Bermuda Triangle and quicksand.
Quicksand.
Yeah.
I can say
6-year-olds
quicksand.
are scared by minor things.
Cartoons do make the Bermuda Triangle and quicksand seem like a much more
That's what
prevalent
I was
situation.
scared of at 6.
31
And
years
now you're
in.
telling me these are real world problems?
31 years in, I have yet to run into quicksand. I have lost a shoe in mud, though. Just
Which
saying.
was devastating.
Yeah, I was horrified for weeks.
I thought it was going to eat it.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to reach down and grab it in
I
case
was
it
like,
got my arm.
Is my foot still there?
Right, this suction down is expanded to other shapes. It's not
Yeah.
only kept to a triangle.
I thought that they did like the Dare guy in like 6th grade. Like 6
I
years
remember that like 4th grade.
old. If I tried to tell Arwen about the dangers of drugs and alcohol, don't you think she'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like unfazed.
So, but the point is, the kid is sensitive. So, like, what are we supposed? What do they want? What she want?
I would say that in the various boys my age, I know, a little sensitivity wouldn't go amiss. So, like, I don't know, leave him alone. Give him a few years.
I'm so proud of you for making that statement.
I
Some
mean,
sensitivity would be appreciated.
what are you gonna make this kid do? Hey, go out in the garage and chop wood and think about drugs till it don't scare you no more.
There's a certain level of, like, if you're trying to keep your child from every possible scary situation in the world as a parent and are trying to shield them from everything, this kind of stuff may happen because they start to, like, get worried because of what you're worried about. Like, if you're putting a bunch of worry on your child because you tell them a bunch of scary stories and they can't go outside because they could get kidnapped, or they shouldn't go to school because of blah, 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 or they shouldn't be watching that because of blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a certain level of, like, you can educate your children while allowing them to still be, like, experience things but not be influenced by them because they've got a safe space at home.
They're a family who lives in fear.
Yeah, it sounds like
He's
it.
going to wet the bed. He's going to be at sick.
And
he's
also
going
are
to,
not willing
you
to
know.
let the kid, like, rise up to expectations. Like, a 6-year-old being in diapers still, like, that kid probably very well could have been out of those, but, like, mom and dad don't believe in them to be able to do so.
Yeah.
And they don't, it's, you can allow your child to be safe and grow. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to coddle them from
I mean,
everything.
here's the deal: to the 15th night in a row, you're washing those sheets. I mean, I understand how you get to some of these areas, but, like, there is a grit. There's a grit to it.
Yes.
Like, I'll on Emma's point, like, the kids go through phases, man. Sometimes, like, we've had multiple times where the kid's just weeping at night for like 3 weeks, and you're like, what the heck is even going on around here? And you know what happened in week 4? They just stopped. And like, you don't make a super big deal about it. You go, everything's just fine. You can, right? And like, you raise the child, right? And so if the worst is the happening, okay, that these are fearful people and the fear is going on to the kid, you're setting that kid up for failure. And
Yep.
you would know that because you're grown adults and you're afraid all the time.
And your kid's probably going to do
And so, and here's reasonably, I get it that we don't use this word anymore, but like, just for cleanness of talking about it, like, every once in a while you should look at your sensitive kid and go, am I raising a sissy? Like, am I doing something that is causing them to take the world in too soft of a way? And maybe you're not, and that's fine. But like whatever extreme thing that you think you might screw up as a parent, I mean, once every 6 months, it should just run through your mind. I'm like, is it possible that I'm hosing this kid up in this way? Yes or no? No?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
going to get canceled because Ben said sissy.
I mean, this
What do we
whole
say?
I don't know.
this whole situation makes me think of, like, I don't know, some internet meme I saw was like, somebody, hey, have anyone ever told you you're beautiful? No, sir. Papa forbade mirrors in the house lest we fall victim to vanity. Like, this is what it makes me think of. Like you showed to this kid so much, like, I'm like, he's not gonna know what grass feels like. He'll know what it looks like because he saw it in a picture book. But you didn't let him go outside because there's bugs in the grass.
Now, Grace, I do have to ask, because what you represented of your use of the electronics
Yep.
was primarily writing, but you have a very deep meme catalog.
Yeah.
It's mostly writing memes.
I mean,
I see.
Yeah. Social life 0.
Okay, I'm just saying. Maybe take a look and see whether you're unexposed to these items as often as you believe yourself.
for your
to be.
sake, I hope there's an ACT section that is, like, drawing literary conclusions based off of memes that you've seen.
They'll have that in 10 years guaranteed.
There's a Mr. Darcy saying, "Hey, who's guilty of screwing up the whole deal like the Scooby-Doo thing?" And it's another Mr. Darcy.
Oh, Grace won't understand that reference. She won't read Pride and Prejudice.
I don't want to hear this ever.
Okay.
Stop this.
All
Stop
right.
this.
So
It's a landmine. My fault.
Yeah, what's secular going to say?
yeah, are we done talking about the sissy?
Oh, sorry.
I
Mike,
think
that's
that
not right.
the sensitivity part you should leave for now. Like, my brother's kind of sensitive. He won't watch Tangled because Mother Gothel is scary.
Oh, that's true.
But then he'll
It's a
watch
bad
Marvel.
movie, sis.
It's a bad movie. We can't watch that movie. It's too bad. But so, like, he is a sensitive dude at this point, but he also in some areas is not. So I feel like if you get rid of the coddling,
True.
that
Like when he goes, "Hey, Uncle Mike, I'm gonna scratch my butt for a little bit. You want to watch?" Yeah, I guess.
Ew.
I mean,
What?
the sensitivity in your house concerns me. You say your brother does this, but I can recount multiple times where your little sister has come up and attempted to pickpocket me.
That's not a sensitivity problem. It's a
We're-
different
Just
mole.
straight
thing.
up
We can't watch
gangster.
that. That's a bad movie. And then R1 comes up behind me, steals my phone out of my
Is-
pocket, and
wait.
bolts.
To answer the sissy thing, is snowflake the thing now? I feel like people call people snowflakes.
I think you have to be a certain age. Maybe that's
think-
what you transition to.
This terminology.
Okay, let's answer at least one question here.
I
Is
did.
6 too young for the drugs and alcohol magician?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, the only thing it's doing is trying to figure out drug-using parents.
And all the evidence disappeared.
They're
Yeah,
just trying
right.
to get Toby to raise his hand and go, "My mama smokes that. What's that?"
I
Panama
recognize
what?
that smell.
Yeah. that
Hey,
looks
bozo, I've seen a joint before.
Is that South Peach pomade? That's what my grandpa.
You got that OG Kush, bozo?
Now,
Yeah.
my wife, who works in a middle school, often has parents come in with a strong stench of the marijuana.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Strong stench of the marijuana.
And the
Yeah.
kids, yeah.
A Pontiac. Sorry.
They're often driving a vibe.
Okay.
Okay,
Very
Secular
toke.
says,
That's woke.
there are many super sensitive adults who begin life as super sensitive children. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but children must learn to exist and to navigate the increasingly complicated world in which they live. Your grandson's parents should have his pediatrician recommend a licensed child psychologist who can help the boy and his parents address the challenges ahead.
I'm a big proponent for therapy, but this one's just ridiculous.
Dr. Morrison, I believe my boy's a sissy.
I got a snowflake in my house.
Do
What
you
do I do?
have anything for this?
My kid recognizes what fentanyl is. What do I do?
Yeah, and he ratted me out to that health teacher.
They scared
Mom
my
was
boy
putting
drugs.
black tar heroin last week. I saw it. She's
Okay.
riding the white pony.
It's okay. So if it's not the maybe you don't go to the doctor. But like, I mean, here's the deal: you don't have to farm it out. I'm
Right.
just asking, as the parents, ask yourself: are we putting fear into this kid? Is it healthy? And do we need to change something about us and something about him? I think it's just ask yourself the question, and like, I don't think you always have to farm it out. Just do some self-reflection.
Yes. I want my child to be safe. Great. I want my child to never experience anything because they need to be coddled entirely. Not great.
Right. And as a matter of fact, the last thing I want is to go, "Hey, yeah, me and your mother are scared to death. You should talk to the doctor." Anytime you're afraid of anything in life, do not trust us.
should
We'll be in the
You should
closet.
talk to a therapist.
Hey, do we know for certain this was written by a lady?
Yeah, the
Dang.
grandma.
The
Okay.
grandma, yeah.
Because otherwise, I was gonna say this feels like a very grandpa thing to think. They're like, boy, this
My
daughter.
boy's going to be a
Yeah.
sissy.
I'm guessing
I ain't
they're
going to
all
stand for
wearing
no
masks.
sissy in
We
my
gotta go
household.
fishing.
I knew I should have named him Hacksaw.
If he, if little Billy's gonna carry on my name, he better not be a sissy.
You were born in Appalachia.
We eat possum. Get back here.
Otherwise, the possum eats us.
Jimmy, eat your squirrel bits.
I'm gonna take that boy out to the woods. We're gonna kill something.
Now here's your first gun. We're gonna go hunt some
He ain't
deer.
gonna be a sissy under my watch.
I made a
Sorry,
headstone.
this grandfather is now my favorite part to play. This is fantastic.
Get on your raccoon hat.
Okay, we're gonna do one more real quick.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Dear Live from the Path, I live in an area with a large number of dog owners who frequent the same walking trails I do.
Yep.
On several occasions, I have encountered dogs that are off leash and running ahead of their owners. Sometimes the owner isn't even in sight. On several occasions, dogs have jumped up on me, almost knocking me to the ground. I'm in my late 60s. Oh, she's in her late 60s, though. Under 5 feet and weigh 105 pounds.
Sweet Moses.
I could easily be injured. I was once attacked and bitten. Grace, these are other people's problems. Tone it up.
You got to back away from the microphone.
My question is this. What's the best thing to say to these dog owners when they finally appear? The last time it happened, the owner happily said to her dog, "I know you're excited, but..." The rest I couldn't hear because she had already passed me on the trail. Live from the past, she saw her dog jump up on me and never even acknowledged me. I don't want to respond angrily or sarcastically, but in a friendly yet firm manner.
Yeah. So like sometimes, like one of my kids is bees naughty to some of the other kids, and I don't want to deal with it, and so I just let it go, you know. And I feel like it's very similar to this.
Was that your advice?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're sympathizing with the
I
dog
can,
owner.
I can understand not wanting to talk to my dog.
Yeah. You're like, I know that kid's doing the wrong thing, but I just I don't want to get involved in that right now.
Here's the deal. Like, there's some levels of, like, I would probably call this, like, oh, don't be that big of a deal. Like, it's a dog, whatever. But if you're, like, a 68-year-old grandmother that weighs 105 pounds and is 3'11", you could seriously get hurt by a dog.
Absolutely.
Call the cops.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that answer, but it's
Call the police.
I'm serious. Like, if it's a situation where it's constantly happening, there's a bunch of people on this trail, it's known to happen all the time, just tell them, hey, you got to realize, like, you have to keep your dog leashed, or I'm calling the cops. It could hurt me.
Okay, yeah, or walk a different trail.
I mean, I have to leave my trail?
Yeah, I've got to leave the trail because of 30 dog owners?
Hold on a minute. If you are such a wayfish individual.
Wayfish!
Hold on. That normal things that happen in life are a threat to you. It is possible that you may have to change your behavior as opposed to flipping the world around.
I'll take that if it's you having to call the cops. But if it's a 70-year-old grandmother, I think she should be able to walk the trails and not have to change her ways because of these crazy dogs that have already attacked her.
Okay, I'm not buying attack.
She said she literally got knocked down, did she not?
She said she got
Do we
attacked and
ever
bitten one
take
time.
this
She
at
got
face
attacked and
value?
bitten one time.
I feel like we don't usually take words at face value. And here's the thing. You guys, if I've listened to past episodes, are notoriously gentle on the ladies. I think this lady's ridiculous. She was not attacked by a dog. Okay?
Hi.
Relax.
I'm a 6'3", 415-pound man that could defend myself, and I was bit by a dog 3 times this week.
On a
And
walking trail?
The same dog?
In a house that I was in.
Wait,
Oh,
say-
well, that's a little different.
No.
Yeah.
This dog will attack everyone around, and nothing gets done. So I understand where you're coming from, that
Yeah.
sometimes we can be a little bit lax on the ladies in the situation, but I'm not in any way that description, and I get attacked by dogs.
Okay,
and
here's
I
the
don't want to
thing.
get attacked by the dogs.
I think Ben's advice is hard to take in, but it's probably right. Like, the thing is like, let's say you call the police and get rid of the one, and then you call the police and get rid of the second, and like, it's just you're never gonna get all of them. So the question is like, is it unfair that she's being attacked by the dogs, or like they're jumping on her? Yes, that
Yes.
is unfair.
Yeah.
Is that a problem that you're going to solve? Probably not. You should probably find somewhere else to
Practically,
walk.
you go walk the mall.
The
I mean-
practical answer is you should find somewhere else to go.
I mean, if you're a big dog owner in like you're a young person with a dog in a retirement home and everyone's complaining, who's gonna leave? Probably you. You have the dog and you're surrounded by a bunch of old people. Like, and if you're the old person in the dog situation, you should probably go defect to the retirement home.
So now what we're saying is, because this woman is able to be attacked by a dog and possibly hurt, she has to be the one to leave a situation. And it's fine for all these people that know
No,
they
nobody
are
said
dog
that.
owners. They know
You're throwing that
they
last
should,
part in there.
They should have leashes
You're
on their dogs.
continuing to
You
throw
know.
that last part in there.
Which last part?
No one's saying that it's fine, but the practical answer is
Yes.
like, you're not going to solve
We
it.
just know, we just know it's going to happen.
I don't know if
Here-
this
here's the deal.
problem's solved by leashes. Like, dogs jump up on you, unless it's like a 3-foot leash. Usually there's enough distance that they can jump on you whether if they really want to. They can jump up on you even on a leash.
Yeah, it's not right, but like, it's just not the practical answer is it's not a problem you're going to solve. It's like that jerk on the bus. Like when the kids come home and like, Tommy called me a butt face again. I'm like, look, stop talking to Tommy. I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, I can't fix Tommy. I'm not Tommy's dad. He has to ride the bus. And so like, the best you can do is move to the front of the bus and not sit by Tommy. That's the answer. Right? There's no, like, I could call the cops on Tommy. I go talk to Tommy's dad. Maybe Tommy's dad whoops him for a day. He behaves for a week. And then Tommy is a big jerk again on the bus. Right? Like, there's some problems that you just cannot fix.
Yeah, if you want, so extrapolate it to, so think about during the COVID stuff. There's people who are highly susceptible to catching something, and it was a significant detriment to them. There's 10,000 people where that wasn't the case. Does the person who's highly susceptible say, I don't care, the rest of the 10,000 people bend to me, or do you just shop from 6 to 7 a.m.? Like, there's a practicality to it. Could the 10,000 people change? Sure they could. But like, if you're the anomaly, because most people could handle a jumping dog, frankly, and the jumping dog's not even like the singular problem. A kid rolling by in a trike, a toddler trying to jump up or run at you. Like, there's all kinds of various things that could happen while you're out and about.
Keep your toddlers on a leash.
I'm just saying, like, there's a point where you're responsible for your own protection, and if there are so many things that you cannot control happening, if you're really worried about your health and safety, then you should walk somewhere else. If you're just irritated that people aren't taking care of their dog,
That's
and
fair.
you have the tolerance for the fight, then keep walking and fighting about it. I think that's fine too, because I'm agreeing that it's wrong. But like, if you're really worried about your health, you can either try to move the 10,000 people or you can walk a different trail.
Secular says, "You are far too nice, lady. Start carrying pepper spray or bear spray when you walk on the trail."
Bear spray the dog.
Yeah, Boova Justice.
I love it.
Oh, don't even. Don't even. I shut my mouth in the last 2 minutes. I will not take that.
Hey, get
Don't
the
even.
condoms while you're at it.
Take some of that bear spray right to your gullet.
You take that sissy boy. You take your bear spray. You take care of them dogs.
You take your pet possum and you get off the trail.
That dog gets any near me, I'm going to eat it.
Okay, continues. If an off-leash dog starts to jump on you, use it. When the owner shows up, use it again.
On the owner?
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay. Sometimes secular really goes off the deep end. So I would not be surprised. It was like, yeah,
That would have been great.
get the fire hydrant of bear repellent and hit the owner with it too. Matter of fact, I can tell you how to make napalm if you need it.
I oversold
Gasoline and
that
styrofoam.
one. When the owner shows up, say their dog charged you and take their picture. Okay, we're still on the same area. If they give you any trouble, file a police report. When you were bitten, you should have involved the authorities and your attorney.
I'm not. Yeah, just to be clear, like if someone's not watching their dog and they're biting people, then you should like
Report 'em.
call them in, totally. But like, here's the thing: I do think she said it happens all the time. She gave a one and then the other example, like there were actually only two that she's like. I think it's probably not happening as often, but she's frustrated because it's happened more than once, and I get that too. But, like, I think you just got to keep it in proportion, and she's got to decide what she wants to fight. But, like, again, health problem, she needs to handle it on her own. You've been listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. We really do appreciate it. If you needed to cut this episode into 3 parts and listen to it, that's totally fine with us. I don't care how you spread out the pie as long as you eat the whole thing.
You watch the whole thing if you're not a sissy.
Bear spray.
Yeah.
Can we get some Live from the Path branded bear spray?
I'd buy it.
Yeah, you know, the other items that are in the Life from the Path store at livefromthepath.org are not flying off the shelves. But I feel like this bear
That
spray.
bear spray might be the deal.
Yeah. I'm going to go set up at Gray's Lake or wherever the dogs are at and say,
That's
look,
gonna.
I know how to solve this problem.
Any unruly unleashed dogs? Live from the Path bear spray.
We start selling bear spray, we're gonna end up on Belief.net. Or whatever it is.
BeliefNet.com.
BeliefNet.com. Rogue Christian Podcast starts selling themed bear spray for dogs.
Thanks for hanging out. We really appreciate it. If you got any comments for us on the show, you can email us at info@livefromthepath.org or contact the Live from the Path Bob Eisenhower complaint line 515-517-0085. Call or text. We'd love to hear from you. We do plan on actually I don't think we'll be around next week. We'll see how the days shake out. But in the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.